The Seattle Seahawks continue to get elite production out of their two young running backs. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to Wednesday, but we're still playing a little bit of catch-up since the game was Monday night. So technically, we're still in the 48-hour period, right? We're still kind of licking our wounds a little bit and feeling it. But I think most of us have come to an understanding with that game. I think most of us get it, and we're just ready to play another one. And there's going to be a quick turnaround, so we got to start pushing out these videos. We got to start getting through the weekly content. And you guys know, usually on Tuesday, we do Youth Watch, or, young players, or however you want to qualify it. I like to call it Youth Watch Tuesday. We'll be doing it on a Wednesday this week because everything got pushed back. So after today, we should be all caught up and good to go for the rest of the week. But let's take a look at the weekly performance and also the collective performance of the young Seattle Seahawks players. Again, this is basically going to be everybody that is on a rookie deal, and the numbers on screen at least are going to be more cursory. Like, we go in depth on these players sometimes, for sure. We have individual videos about these players sometimes, but I want to really talk about specifically the top level stuff in this video, I think. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to start with the running backs, and like I said, they were probably the stars of the show on Monday night in terms of young players, because this was kind of the perfect balance, right? You had Ken Walker, really, really productive on the ground and through the air. I thought he was great. 3 touchdowns. And then you had Charbonnet stepping in and providing so much as a pass protector and as a pass receiver. And in my head, this is where this was always going to end up. Walker is your bell cow back, for lack of a better term. A bell cow back usually gets a bigger chunk of the load than Walker gets, but he's your lead back, and Charbonnet's the guy who comes and cleans up on third down. Not that Walker can't do it. Walker's a good receiver. Walker can make things happen with the ball in his hands, even if he's the receiver on the play. He's a talented receiver. But Charbonnet, the role that he provided in that game, where he had like 5 catches and was very productive as a receiver out of the backfield, that's how I think this is going to play out. So both guys were very productive in this game. Both guys have 4 touchdowns. Walker has missed more than half of the season, by the way, so that's remarkable. And the PFF scores are starting to fall into place as well. Ken Walker has an elite grade. Charbonnet has a good one. So we're trucking in the right direction, guys. This is working as planned. And these two guys between them have about 500 yards from scrimmage through the first 4 games. And that's with Walker missing about... Actually, I think if you want to be technical about it, you could say he's missed about 55% of the season with that injury. Okay, so moving on. We got wide receivers. JSN, it was a pretty good game. I think he had 8 catches for... Let me get the yardage here. 51 yards. I think most of his catches went for first downs, and that's clearly the formula here with JSN, right? We look at him on third down. We look at him in situations where we need to convert third and medium, second and medium. He's filling the role that you would have imagined he would fill from college, right? Like, when we drafted JSN, the people who liked the pick immediately went, okay, that's your third down option right there. That is the guy who gets open and catches the ball on third down. And it's working. It's working really well. It worked a little bit last year, but this year, we're really starting to see it blossom. PFF grade on the rise a little bit as well this week, I believe 67.2, which, given the fact that they kill him for his run blocking every week, seems pretty good to me. Still hasn't found the end zone yet, but I'm not worried about it. It'll come. And Jake Bobo had his best game of the year, really only a significant impact of the year. I think it was 3 catches for, I want to say, 30 yards. Yes, 30 yards. Good run blocking as well. Good run blocking reps. Finally made a noticeable impact on a game this year. And that's probably about as good as it's going to get for Bobo. People will ask about him sometimes in chats and stuff, but there's way too much going on this offense to force feed Bobo. So he'll get a catch every now and then, and that's just the role he occupies right now. And I would very much caution against the idea of thinking that more Jake Bobo on the field will equate to an equal amount of production. Like, the law of diminishing returns might apply here. Jake Bobo might not be a guy you want out there for 50 snaps. He might be a guy who you want out there for 20 snaps. And forcing him out there beyond his capacity to positively impact the game is just going to make people resent him. So I'm very cautious about the people who keep trying to push the Bobo stuff. I think that the role he occupies is the role that he probably should occupy for his career. By the way, Derek Young did not play, which was interesting. Usually he gets at least 2 snaps or 3 snaps. But we're finding something here. With even Chenault only had the 1 snap, right? So we're falling into a little bit of a pattern here. And after 500 yards in Detroit on Monday night, you have to say the pattern's working. The cough does not leave, man. I don't feel sick at all. I don't feel bad at all, but the cough is still here. I don't get it. Okay, young offensive linemen, they kind of got lit up. The top 2 guys, I mean, Cross is far and away the top guy, right? That's the guy we care about. He picked up his first penalty of the season, and he allowed 10 pressures. What I can say is that of those 10 pressures, only 1 of them resulted in Geno Smith getting hit. The other 9 were just pressures. And Geno deserves a lot of credit for that, but at least we're not sitting here saying that Cross is going to get Geno killed. Can't really say that when Geno isn't getting hit, even getting hit on most of these pressures. And I do think that PFF weighs for that and understands that. They also understand how crappy the situation was. Seattle's down the whole game. They have 1 drive in that game where they're ahead, and they just have to play catch-up. It's really hard to pass protect against anybody. It's almost impossible against Aiden Hutchinson. So his run blocking grade's still really good, by the way, 90.1. I feel like we don't use that enough. I feel like we don't run his way enough. We really like running the ball to the right, which that's valid. That's usually how offenses go. Usually you run the ball to the right more than the left. But there might be something on that left side to unlock that I wasn't necessarily anticipating us to have. Overall grade still really good. So he's playing good football. He's just finally slipping a little bit after starting the season unrealistically good. Yeah. Forsyth, on the other hand, a little harder to defend. I can say some of the same things, right? He gave up like 12 pressures in that game, but I think 10 of them were just pressures. 1 was a QB hit, 1 was a sack. Maybe there were 2 QB hits. And look, it's Aiden Hutchinson. He's dealing with Aiden Hutchinson. He's the guy who has to deal with him for most of the game in a bad situation. I can't even really get that mad at him for it, right? So it's a bad game, and his run blocking grade also fell off a cliff. Although, for reasons I went into in yesterday's video, I don't know if that grade makes sense to me. Like, I might have to go through that game again and try to dissect exactly why they gave Forsyth and Bradford such bad run block grades when we had success running the ball on the right side. A lot of success. Regardless, that's what they had. They also had his PFF grade overall plummeting below 50 now, which, well, I'd say we'll be rid of him soon, but we won't. Forsyth is probably going to be out there for, I would say, I kind of expect him to be out there for at least another month, personally. But maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be more like 2-3 weeks. Okay, so getting past that, it's pretty good. Well, kind of. Christian Haynes. Christian Haynes played a significant chunk of that game, only allowed 1 QB pressure. And his overall PFF grades did go down a little bit. But I felt watching that game that he looked fine. And there was some fear that he wasn't going to look fine when he got out there. There was some fear, I think, that he was just going to be completely washed out. Because that's the way the coaches were kind of indicating things were going. So we got that to hang our hat on right now, Christian Haynes. And Bradford, too, only allowed 1 QB pressure, no penalties. He got killed for his run blocking. Granted, his run blocking grade was atrocious this week. And his PFF grade has fallen because of it. But I thought Bradford looked relatively competent. I don't know what the decision is going to be from the coaching staff. I can understand it either way. If it's Haynes, it's Haynes. If it's Bradford, it's Bradford. I think both choices are defensible. Mostly because I don't really believe Bradford's run blocking grade can possibly be that bad. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. We ran the ball really well in a small sample size. And we ran the ball to the right side really well. So either Ken Walker is the greatest running back who ever lived, or that grade's just not indicative of reality. Nothing for Lomia, nothing for Lucas, of course. Now we go to the defense. Defensive line. I mean, Mike Morris played a decent chunk of that game, but PFF did not like what he did at all. I don't think he recorded any stats. I think he had a tackle on a play that was penalized. Not the tackle itself, but the play was penalized, so it didn't count. If you take PFF at face value, and I don't know if I do here, Morris is... He's just kind of getting... It seems like he's getting pushed around a little bit. And I do recall that in college, he played a lot of edge. We kind of moved him inside in the NFL because he's a bigger guy. Seems like he might be struggling with that a little bit. I might have to... I don't know if it's useful to do a deep dive on a player who doesn't play enough, like Mike Morris. He barely plays, but something isn't clicking there that I expected to click this year. All right, so linebacker, on the other hand, Tyrese Knight, in a weird way, I kind of feel like that was his most well-rounded game of his career, even though the defense got completely lit up and nothing about the defense really was good. I didn't mind what Tyrese Knight did. He picked up, 9 tackles in this game. Excuse me. Man, really want to get rid of this cough. But yeah, 9 tackles. He didn't get lit up in coverage to my eye. His PFF grade's higher than ever. So Tyrese Knight, man, it's a big ask, and he's fulfilling it. And Drake Thomas was out there for a little bit as well. 2 tackles, didn't play particularly well. I noticed him in a negative way a lot more than I noticed Tyrese Knight in a negative way. Derek Hall was the one young edge rusher we had playing this game because, remember, no Mafe. He picked up a few tackles, played the run really well, was one of our best all-around defenders, picked up a sack, which was... that was special. That was a special sack. And I'm so happy a penalty didn't wipe it out. And I don't know why it didn't. Somebody's going to have to explain to me the logic behind saying that horse collar is legal in the pocket. I accept that that's the rule, but somebody needs to explain to me what the logic is there. Because that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Derek Hall played a good game. Not a lot of players on the defense you can say that about, but I do think Derek Hall did what he could. Remember, he's going up against great tackles in Sewell and Decker. Woolen, I thought, did play a good game. He picked up 3 tackles. Maybe there's some run support stuff that isn't ideal. I know his PFF grade was bad because of the run support stuff, but overall, I think he allowed 1 catch, maybe 2 the whole game. And Witherspoon did not get roasted as much as I thought he would. 4 tackles, 1 missed, and a couple plays where he was in the area for a touchdown catch, the Jamison Williams one and the Amon-Ra one. But they decided not to give him any blame for it, which, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I understand that you can only blame a touchdown on one player numerically, but it's hard for me to say that Witherspoon didn't do anything wrong on the Jamison Williams touchdown. And, I mean, it was bad enough to where there were people wondering if Devin Witherspoon was concussed after that big hit he took from Montgomery. That's how bad he was playing. So I don't know if I totally buy this, but I also think it's maybe fair to say that we're a little too close to the Witherspoon stuff, so we over-exaggerate his weaknesses and flaws and problems. That's possible, too. Trey Brown didn't record any stats, gave up a touchdown according to PFF. So his grade fell a lot because he got roasted. And that's about it for the corners. Only safety thing would be Kobe Bryant. I think he picked up 2 tackles in this game. And I thought he gave up the touchdown to Amon-Ra that ended the game. PFF didn't give it to him. I'm interested to see what PFR thinks. But there's been some debate about that among Seahawks fans today for sure. So Kobe... just kind of an anonymous game. He was there. He was out there because we needed somebody when Love got hurt. And he was present, right? You can't say he did anything over the top great. I don't think he did anything terrible. And that's it for Youth Watch Tuesday this week. Let me know what you guys think. Still a very impressive collection of young players we have on this squad, guys. I'm still very happy about where this is going. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks.